Hello, hello there, fellow people, highly sensitive empaths out there, Starseed, Earth Angels, Human Angels, God's chosen ones who want to heal and thrive and move on, be creating your lives your way after those horrible, manipulative, very toxic experiences, very destructive, traumatic experiences. So I want to talk about communication because I cannot put enough emphasis on this topic, because ultimately it's everything that we have that we can hear and understand each other as human beings. Even animals communicate with each other. Because as a trauma victim, it can be so difficult to communicate with yourself and with others. It can be so hard to articulate your thoughts and emotions and experiences in a clear way so that someone else would understand you. So this is one thing that can take a lot of work. And what I discovered on my own personal path was that discovering the strength and the clarity to that healthy communication with myself and with others, it really took effort and time. So it's not this one night, overnight shift. But yes, like I said, nothing really works out in our lives if we don't communicate first with ourselves and then clearly with others, with this calm and clear energy. Not being triggered when somebody says something. So it has a lot to do with the healing, because when you truly heal after these kind of experiences, you discover the strength within you and strength within your boundaries, in your self-worth, your self-value and all of that. And so when you create space for yourself to be your authentic self, it's a lot easier also to be communicating with yourself, setting boundaries with yourself and then with others as well. And of course, a big part of communication is listening. Like, if we don't communicate with God, we cannot hear Him. If we don't communicate with our angels, we cannot hear our angels. If we don't communicate with ourselves, we cannot hear ourselves and our intuition. If we don't communicate with others, they will never hear us. They will never understand us, and therefore they cannot even be helping us or reciprocating that respectful communication. So everything begins within. As I always say, everything begins within yourself, within you. How you see the world, how you see yourself, how you treat yourself, and how you communicate that out to the world. And also being present. When you listen, when you hear that you're present, you're calm, you're peaceful, so then you are creating space for that connection to happen. So the same thing in the meditation and prayer, when you connect with God and when you connect with your higher self, for example, listening to your intuition, listening to yourself, paying attention to those signs that the universe is sending you. So if you're not slowing down and listening and being present, you cannot be building that connection. So the same thing with children, the same thing with our pets, with our loved ones, with whoever in our lives. So much has to do with just being calm and present. And then also, for example, if you're reading an email or a text message from someone, that you're not filtering that message throughout your trauma, your wounds, negative energies, but you're being present in that moment when you're reading it, and you're actually paying attention to what it is saying to you, what the person is saying to you who has written that, and that you can also stay true to yourself, and of course discern at the same time, is this, what I'm reading, is this acceptable? Is this okay? Is this what a smart adult would say? So you pay attention to these things when you have the clarity that you're calm, you're in a healthy state when you read or hear another person, when you read a message or listen to another person. So you're not assuming false things, you're being present and clear. So you're coming from that calm, healthy state. And this, of course, is something that a toxic narcissist will never do. They will always be wanting to overpower with their own opinions and false assumptions, and you know, to be creating that chaotic environment and energy, and that is again very toxic, and it's not acceptable, and that is not a way that a healthy person does. You know, a healthy person doesn't. And a healthy communicator also has healthy boundaries and self-respect, because you have to know your own side, because, you know, people are not mind readers. So especially when we're dealing with companies, for example, people who don't know us, apparently they can easily come from their own false beliefs, false assumptions. This is, of course, usually how the brain works. The brain assumes usually very easily things based on its own memories and experiences. So this explains the reason why it is so common, why it happens. Like, for example, on social media, somebody comments on a post, but they don't ultimately even understand what the post is even about, because they just want to be heard. A healthy communicator gives space to their own self-respect and opinions and everything in that situation when you're communicating with someone else. And they also give room and space for the other person to be heard and respected, to be able to also, you know, to communicate. But of course, healthy communication will never happen if you're dealing with an immature, toxic person. So then you need to be aware of it again, that it's happening, and you need to be drawing the lines, drawing the healthy boundaries, that you're separating yourself in that situation, so that you don't get carried away with your feelings again. You don't get triggered because it's not worth it, that your body is reacting to it negatively. So you're able to hold your own space and be drawing that line. And this is again so personally important for me, because I've seen it too many times when the communication is not healthy. So the treatment is not healthy, it's toxic, it's triggering, it's traumatizing. And it happens when we're dealing with these immature, selfish people who only see their own points of view, these companies that only want money and power, and they don't care about your health, they don't care about your healthy opinions or rights or your health overall, your life overall, the life of your family overall. They don't have those healthy communication skills in place or healthy respect for another person. So likely this has caused you severe trauma, like it did to me. So when I was healing and thinking about these things, doing a lot of self-reflection, and every time I still notice that when somebody is not understanding what I'm saying, that they're coming from their own angle, their own immature or toxic angle, yes, it can trigger me, but then I just need to remind myself where I'm coming from. So it's always important to remind yourself to stay in your own frame, in your own energy, that you don't get carried away with the other person's. And of course, what I think that we should always do when these things happen is that, you know, we're just calmly acknowledging them and just, you know, be stepping away and be sending their energies back to them, so that we're not absorbing their false energies, because it's again their issues. And so we're cutting off the cords in our minds, for example, and clearing our energies. And maybe you want to take a deep breath and remind yourself again that this is not my problem, it's not my issue, it's clearly that person's issue, and it's not my job to be over explaining myself and overextending myself in this situation. And the next time something like this happens, maybe you can discern and be more wiser and calmer about it, and, you know, not get triggered, and notice that you're actually healing, that you can come from that calm state where a mature, smart adult comes from, who knows their worth and value and all of that, because our time and energy matter. So we should not be wasting them on things that ultimately don't matter or don't serve us. Somebody's opinion doesn't really matter. It's not your life. It's their opinions. It's their life. Because apparently this happens, that so many people are just not understanding what healthy, respectful communication and treatment are. And so that is why they cannot even be producing them, of course, because you cannot give what you don't have. So this is also what you might want to remind yourself of if communication with someone is not happening, it's not working out. So there's no point in hurting yourself in that process, or blaming yourself, letting your inner child feel hurt again, because that would be feeding your old trauma, your trauma within. So you want to avoid that, especially when you're healing your traumas. And so if they are accusing you being toxic, being disrespectful, claiming that you're the problem, well, then you're clearly dealing with somebody who has narcissistic tendencies, or they are a full-on narcissist, because a healthy person will never judge you or treat you, disrespect you like that when they don't even know you and your story and anything, and they don't know that you are a sensitive trauma victim. Because a healthy person, if they know that they're dealing with a sensitive trauma victim, they would give that trauma victim the space to be themselves, you know, be creating that safe space, not be attacking. So if this negative energy just happens, just know that it's not your issue, that you just need to be away from it. So in that situation, communicate with yourself, with your inner child, with your higher self. Don't let yourself get triggered, because it's not worth it. You need to stick to your healing. You need to protect your energy, your peace, your state of mind, your health. So you want to always come from that high vibe, loving, peaceful, calm state of mind that you need to be cultivating every single morning when you start your day. So that is the only place to be. Like for me, I can say that if I come out of my own alignment, I'm suffering. If I'm not feeling my own calm and happy, joyful, grateful, loving state, I'm really hurting. And when you're healing the abandonment wound, the abandonment trauma that you likely have, because you have it if your parents have been narcissistic. Even your ex can be causing that, of course, but anyway. So you have that abandonment wound and that mistreatment wound, that people have been attacking you and avoiding you and neglecting you and walking all over you. So these kind of events can bring out that trauma, and that is why it's even more difficult, heavy, destructive to deal with. So this is again why you need to be protecting your peace and acknowledging what is happening, and just be knowing your own value and worth, and knowing that you don't need to be dealing with that. So remind yourself, okay, this person is coming from their limited experiences and points of view. They don't live my life. They're not me. They're the complete opposite of me, because I'm a sensitive, intuitive, kind, big-hearted person. I would save the world if I could. I would save every animal, every child, everybody. So this is me, and this is clearly not that person. So that is okay. And I'm drawing the healthy line. I'm setting my boundary. I'm communicating honestly and as clear as possible my opinions, because they are valid and they matter. And so this is me and they are them, and I'm doing what I can, and it has to be enough, and it is enough. And they can be upset if they want to. I'm not responsible for that. So when you're able to have your own back, you're able to talk to yourself like this. You're working on your energies, your self-talk, your self-appreciation, your self-worth, your self-value. And you are becoming the adult who you are supposed to be, the empowered person. You have always been that empowered person. Your higher self knows it, but you don't always feel it or believe in it when you get hurt and triggered by these negative, toxic people, for example, who know nothing about you and who only come from their limited points of view and their limited beliefs and their limited life experiences, because they are not on the spiritual path, for example, like you are. Like if you're dealing with some customer service, for example, usually those people just are not like us. And again, if they keep on trying to walk all over you and have their own opinion, be the king of everything, that you and your opinions, your experiences, your feelings, emotions, your rights, nothing that you say matters, your boundaries don't matter to them, then you're really dealing with a toxic narcissistic person who is all about themselves and their power and their money, and they'll do anything to get there. So it doesn't have anything to do with you again in that situation, and you just need to notice this and just be cutting off that connection, calling your power back, and just staying in your own lane in that situation. And again, if you need more help and support, check out my services, my self-help book. It will help you become that healed, empowered adult. Check out my healing hypnosis videos for inner child healing. If you feel that you still have inner child wounds, usually this is the case. Like also these toxic people have their inner child wounds, but we shouldn't have them. So my work is here to help. So watch my videos. Thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing to fellow people who might need these informations that I've just been talking about. And get in touch. Follow me on Instagram and on Threads as well. And let's connect and let's chat. And also a reminder that if they are a normal, a mature, stable adult who you are talking to, who you are trying to communicate with, They will respect your healthy boundaries. They will not get triggered and attack you when you express your healthy, normal opinions and boundaries. And they have manners. And they actually treat you with respect. And they actually can apologize or say sorry when they should, when they need to. They will have that eye for that situation. That they have that point of view in place. That they know they are discerning also of how to treat a person respectfully. So if they're not doing this, then you're dealing with an immature person who does not want to take responsibility or accountability. And again, it's not your problem. So I do offer my one-on-one sessions. I don't do group coaching, at least not yet. I don't plan to. I'm doing one-on-one sessions. So if you're interested in a separate 1-hour session for 60 euros, that's possible. You can go to my booking link and book from my schedule, or email me about it if you have another time suggestion for it. So I do online calls, and also, of course, I have my longer program with my coaching and solution-based therapy for 3 or 6 or 9 months. If you're interested in engaging, committing to a longer life transformation where you get my support, and I will tailor a plan to your needs, to your situation, what you need, so that you can really become free of these issues and change your life for the better. And also another, of course, a big red flag, a big sign that you're dealing with, dealing with a toxic, immature person is that they shut down when you set those boundaries, when you communicate your opinions, when you demand something. You're holding on to your boundaries, to your rights, your opinions. So they're not saying anything. They shut down. They stop replying to you. They take it as an insult. So they get their fragile ego so hurt that they shut down completely and they don't reply anything to you anymore. And they completely ignore you and neglect you and only attack you basically if you keep on demanding something. So it's a big neon sign that you're really dealing with an immature person who does not know how to communicate.